Tomodachi Initiative is a public-private partnership between the U.S. Embassy and the U.S.-Japan Council. The vision of the Tomodachi Initiative is to inspire and empower the next generation of young Americans and young Japanese to make a difference in the world in the future.
Tokyo.
We are each different and all so much the same. And in these moments we experience and these emotions we share, we change what we can imagine together. We find what we need to go beyond what separates us.
スポーツは決してアスリートだけでできるものではない。そのことを忘れないようにしたい。これからも感謝と尊敬を胸に前に進んでいこうと思う。東京2020プラスワン。
Here to introduce Ambassador Masaharu Kohno is Ambassador John Roos, who served as the United States Ambassador to Japan from 2009 to 2013. He is also the founding partner of Geodesic Capital. This is Ambassador John Roos.
Good evening, everyone. It is really my great honor to be here virtually to pay tribute and to honor Ambassador Kohno, who is obviously receiving a well-deserved honor, the 2020 Bridge Building Visionary Award. You know, I had the incredible honor of being the United States Ambassador to Japan from 2009 to 2013. Ambassador Kohno truly is a visionary in U.S.-Japan relations. And we could not have had the success that we had in launching the Tomodachi Initiative, which you just saw described in that wonderful film that preceded my comments. But we could not have accomplished what we accomplished without the help and the commitment and the vision of Japanese leaders, including Ambassador Kohno. So I am personally deeply indebted to what he did as a leader to make that people-to-people connection between our younger generation work, which is so incredibly important. If I can give you just another example that was not mentioned, I believe, in the film that you just saw, but Ambassador Kohno, along with Irene Hirano, was very instrumental in forming and establishing the Japanese American Leadership Delegation, that during my tenure in Japan and after, at least once a year, a group of Japanese American leaders came and created those connections, those incredible connections between Japanese Americans and the Japanese and the Americans in Tokyo. And I hope in our own way, we can salute him this evening and continue to build on the foundation that he has laid in bringing our two countries closer and closer together. Thank you for including me in tonight's celebration.
Thank you for your lovely words, Ambassador Roos. It seems like there cannot be enough said about Ambassador Kohno and the impact his work has had on the world. Here to have a chat with Ambassador Kohno, please welcome Yuko Kaifu, President of Japan House, Los Angeles.
Carol,
What a wonderful message that we received from former ambassador to Japan, U.S. Ambassador John Roos, and I love the video as well. But here we have Ambassador Masaharu Kohno participating from Tokyo. Good morning, Ambassador.
Good morning.
Well, congratulations on receiving this award from Major Society of Southern California, which you deserve more than anyone else that I know, because all these years as a diplomat of Japan, you've been doing that bridge building among people and with different countries. So really appreciate what you've been doing. We would have loved to have you here in Los Angeles, were it not for the COVID-19 pandemic. We actually were planning to have you here, but that would be saved for the future opportunities. But I'd like to ask you a few questions. You've done so much, and it's very hard to cover everything that you've done. But I'd like to start our conversation from the days then you were here as the Consul General of Japan in Los Angeles in 2001 through 2003. You were here for 2 years. You came here, posted here in May 2001, and then came 9/11. And you were very busy addressing this huge issue of terrorism and protecting the safety of people. But at the same time, you were very popular among people in the community. And you attended many, many, many events and programs, small and large. You are an avid, beautiful singer. And you are excellent single player of golf.
Yes, yes.
So would you like to share with us a few things going back to the days 20 years ago, actually?
Yeah, thank you very much, Yuko. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say I'm very much honored to be awarded on this Asia Society things. I appreciate that very much. Secondly, I'd like to express my sympathy to the Californians for facing a very difficult time for mountain fire and so on. And again, I would like to say hello to my good old friend, Japanese Americans who happen to be watching this video. I'd like to say hello to them. Well, back to 20 years ago, 2001, I was there as a Consul General. And one of my very important mission is to continue communicating with the Japanese American community here in Los Angeles or Southern California. Yuko was very popular among them. I knew that, but I'm also, together with Yuko, I was very popular, and I did a very good communication with the older generation people and young generation people of the Japanese Americans. One thing which I witnessed was that as generations go down, their interest in Japan is weakening, or I would like to say that a kind of an indifference on Japan by the younger generation Japanese Americans was rather tremendous. So I have a little bit of concern that as generation goes down, then those Japanese Americans will be disconnected from Japan or the Japanese society, although that is one big concern. And secondly, as Yuko mentioned, that half a year after my arrival in LA, September 11 happened, September 11. Well, my concern, second concern was in the aftermath of September 11, I also witnessed there's a certain kind of prejudice against Asian Americans, Asian Pacific Americans, including Japanese Americans. And Japanese Americans were in a very difficult position. Well, those are the kind of eye-opener for me. So in the autumn of 2011, I started a exchange program between the young generation of Japanese Americans and good young Japanese. That was this program we initiated. well, we have no political agenda behind it, but one thing which I like to see is that for those Japanese Americans, young generations, I hope that they can find their own roots in Japan. So and also to try to build a network between young generation across the Pacific, Japan and the United States. And that was somewhat successful, and networking was built, and both Japanese Americans and Japanese made friends with each other. That hoping that will broaden the horizons of Japanese Americans for the future. That is, that is what I did. Many interesting episodes. For example, one Japanese Americans went to Japan for the first time and so met with their remote relatives there, and they found out their roots. They went to the graveyard and and then burst into tears to see that this is my root. That kind of emotional experience and personal experience by each Japanese Americans was very important for the future. This is a chat, so I don't want to make it a one-sided chat, so I will stop it here, Yuko.
Thank you, Ambassador. As a matter of fact, for those of you who don't know me, I was with the Foreign Ministry at that time, and I was called in here to work for Consul General Kohno. So I arrived here in September, 2 weeks after 9/11. So one thing that I did do was to work on this creation of Japanese American Leadership Delegation. Because of the war experiences, many Japanese Americans, like second, third, fourth generations, as Ambassador Kohno just said, had some distance between themselves in Japan, and we thought that it's a pity if we did not connect them or reconnect them again with Japan. It would be a missed opportunity. That was when the right timing, because Ambassador Kohno, Consul General Kohno was there, and visionary leaders of Japanese Americans like Irene Hirano Inoue, at that time Irene Hirano, and the late Senator Inoue, they got together with Consul General Kohno and worked on the creation of this. Ambassador, you said young Japanese American leaders. It was supposed to be young Sansei or the third generation Japanese American leaders. But as the years progressed, it has been like almost 20 delegations, and they were not necessarily young. They were not necessarily third generation. So that's how we renamed it as Japanese American Leadership Delegation. But the impact was really, really great. Would you like to elaborate on some of the achievements?
That's right. That's our lifespan is expanding, and longevity is that we are facing. I'm older generation, of course I say that, but I'm in my early 70s, but maybe I may have still another decades to go. So this, as Yuko said, that this cluster of participants on this program is very, very important. I think we can count more than 200 young Japanese Americans participated in this program. Now we call this program JALD, Japan American Leadership Delegation. Is that what you say? So this is amazing. You know, Yuko, one thing if I have one hidden agenda on this project is, of course, my view is toward the Japanese Americans also, but at the same time, I'm a bit concerned about the Japanese themselves. They have been losing their interest in the Japanese Americans. They are losing contact with the Japanese Americans. But if you look at the history of Japan-US relationship, Japanese Americans have been playing a very important role, particularly after the Second World War. those are the group of people who are kind enough to facilitate Japanese business circle to come into the United States for doing business. So we owe a lot to the Japanese Americans then, and including the Tokyo Olympic Games 1964, Fred Wada and some other Japanese leaders here in Los Angeles played a very important role for the promotion of a Tokyo Olympic 1964. So we shouldn't forget about it. And we would like to, this project, exchange program, is a very golden opportunity for the Japanese to be enlightened by the achievement and the role to be played by the Japanese Americans. That is one very important hidden agenda, not only for the Japanese Americans, but for the Japanese, next generation Japanese.
You're very right, Ambassador. At that time, things have been changing over the years. As a matter of fact, as you said, there have been more than 217 Japanese American leaders who are invited to Japan so far. And next year, 2021, celebrate the 20th anniversary of the launch delegation. So, but then at that time, many Japanese Americans were told by their parents and grandparents not to be, they did not have to speak the language, Japanese language. They did not have to go to Japan because they ought to be active in the mainstream America. But the delegation trips gave an opportunity to Japanese people to get to know about Japanese American contributions and the friendship that they could feel instantaneously. And also it was instrumental in forming the friendship among Japanese Americans. So when you started the delegation trip, it was limited to California,
right.
Those people in California, but then it's been expanded to cover the entire nation. It formed a camaraderie, the friendship among those Japanese Americans. So it's...
Yeah, I would like to say thanks to Yuko. We expanded those activities, starting from a tiny bit of a group of people in Los Angeles, then go to San Francisco, California, and all of the nations, including Hawaii.
Right. So that was really a significant contribution that you made such a great difference as a bridge builder. And a lot of people remember you for your contribution. And former Foreign Minister Taro Kono was also instrumental in growing this delegation trip, the program. Now then, your term here wasn't really long, just for 2 years or so. You were missed, but you had to be called back to Tokyo to possess important positions there at the headquarters of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, like Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs, which is like one of the most senior-most positions. And then you were posted to Russia and Italy as ambassadors. And when you were on your duties as ambassadors, in 2011, of course, on March 11, the great earthquake hit the northeast part of Japan. So that was a disastrous experience that all Japanese had. And immediately, the US military and Japanese defense forces joined hands and worked together on Operations Tomodachi to provide immediate relief to the devastated area of Tohoku, as we call it, the northern part of Japan. And that confirmed the close relationship and friendship between Japan and the United States. And based upon the spirit of friendship and collaboration, this Tomodachi Initiative was launched as a private-public partnership. And Tomodachi, as for the sake of the audience, means friendship. So based upon the spirit of friendship and collaboration between the two countries, this Tomodachi Initiative was launched at this time to make an invest in the future generation, future leaders of Japanese and Americans. And there have been thousands of young students, from both countries, who've been benefited from this program. And all along, when you return to Japan, you have been the senior advisor for the initiative from the Japanese government, because the Japanese government has been supporting the initiative. And you met with many Japanese and American participants. Would you like to share some thoughts and impression that you've had?
My point is that all what I'd like to say was already talked by Yuko.
Sorry.
So I have nothing much to add, but of course, well, that was a disaster, natural disaster, earthquake and tsunami, 2011. And under such a difficult time, tremendous amount of rescue operation being offered by all over the world, including the United States. But on top of it, what the United States took immediate initiative was this Tomodachi Initiative. I would like to take advantage of this occasion to thanks Ambassador Rus. He took initiative. This is partnership among public-private partnership, and also the USJC, that is the United States-Japan Council, was a very important organ to promote this initiative. And as Yuko already mentioned, that the central figure of promoting this initiative was Irene Hirano. Irene Hirano in Norway. She passed away this year. That was a sad moment for all of us, but thanks to their effort, this Tomodachi Initiative has been growing and growing. And networking, again, I would like to use the word networking and friendship between those two people. And on this project, bandwagon was joined by government sector, business circle, and civil society together. And a kind of a huge movement is continuing between Japan and the United States for flow of Japanese, inflow and outflow of Japanese to the United States and vice versa. So I feel that there is a resonance with what Yuko and I did 20 years ago and what this Tomodachi Initiative was initiated 10 years ago, and that is still going on. That is a very important aspect and component of, if you look at the relationship between the two people across the Pacific.
Well, thank you, indeed. And at this time, it's not just the Japanese Americans, but it includes broader Americans. So I think that there are many young people who are indebted to this program, and you're instrumental. You are Ambassador Kohno. You're always visionary, but you're always funny and down to earth. So whenever you meet with a group of those young students, they love you too.
Thank you very much.
So it's not a compliment.
Has a good connotation, I hope.
No, it's I really mean it. So currently, you are, of course, the government representative and special envoy for the Middle East peace, and you are senior advisor for the Tomodachi Initiative, and you are a member of the executive board of Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games, which is huge. Everybody in the world actually is holding her breath to be anxious that the announcement will be made with the confirmation of happening it, although it was postponed, unfortunately, because of the pandemic till next year, and it still be called Tokyo 2020. But would you like to share some thought about where you are, where Japan is in terms of the Tokyo 2020?
Yeah, this is a coincidence, but 20 years ago, there was a terrorism attack. 10 years ago, there is a natural disaster hit Japan. And now, almost 10 years after, we are facing a very serious pandemic threat. Under such circumstances, we are supposed to host a Tokyo 2020 this year, but we did an unprecedented decision together with IOC to postpone it for 1 year. This is so we are facing a very unprecedented challenge. But under such circumstances, what we are doing right now is that we set up a new task force to launch and to make this 2020+1 happen next year. We are working around the clock. Committee members is composed of 6,000 plus people. They are dead serious about doing it, working around the clock for the preparation. There are three important principles after we face the coronavirus. Three principles. The first one is safety first. Safety to be secured for athletes, stakeholders, spectators, staffs, and volunteers, and so on. And second principle is try to minimize the cost, minimize the additional cost, because this is the taxpayers' money, we have to save it. And in order to make those safety and minimizing the fund happen, what we are endeavoring right now is to, how can I say, simplify the program as a whole, simplify the games, and organize the event itself more efficiently than we have expected. We are taking already actions, full-scale review of comprehensive measures, precautionary measures, and also emergency measures. This preparation and operation is underway. So hoping that, of course, the nature of the Olympic may become a bit different, but the most important principle is athlete first. And we would like to take measures of immigration control, for example, a medical inspection and treatment measures and systems, and venue management, well, social distance, and blah, blah, blah. And safety measures for the athlete village, and, well, transportation and others. This is a gigantic project, gigantic work to be done, but those are the things. One thing I would like to emphasize that we are dead serious, we will do it.
Mm-hmm. So that's very good to hear. That's very good to know. And also the changes and adjustments that you'll be making would not be just for in order to address the COVID-19 pandemic or the after the math, but also it could provide some answers to the future Olympic Games. You said that economizing or making it simpler might provide some answers to for the future Olympic Games or any international sports matches, games like that. So I think that we really appreciate what you've been doing.
We, the Japanese, like festival, like Californians too. We love it. So before the pandemic happened, we thought that this Tokyo 2020 will be the biggest sport extravaganza. There are many different kind of ideas floating around and spending a lot of money for that. But well, we have to change the mind, make it minimizing and simplifying, those are the things. But one thing for sure, which I would like to share with you, is the power of sport. Sport has a power, and work together as one for the Olympic and Paralympic Games. Then this will be the springboard for the future. And this is the investment for the future generations. This is, and also to support the economy and improve health, happiness, and respect diversity. Those are the values, and those are the values which we would like to maintain, and we share it. So, well, we need hope. And we need hope, and we need to make 2020+1 a symbol of unity and solidarity among the people. Again, back to my original theme, networking and friendship. That is a key word to make Olympic Games be success. Am I a bit too serious about this issue? That is what I feel.
Well, thank you so much. And we could go on forever. Could probably go on for another hour or so. But in respect of the time, I'm glad that you can finish your remarks with a positive tone towards the Olympic Games.
We will make this Olympic be a success, and to pave the way to the Olympic 2028 in Los Angeles. Well, probably our experience will be a very good food for thought for the preparation for the your Olympic in 2028. That's what I would like to add. And thank you so much, Yuko. And as always, I'm enjoying conversation with you.